The Conjuring House has been at the center of one of the biggest debates in the paranormal community this year. From GoFundMe drama, secret investors, and questions about who really owns the property. This story has sparked outrage, confusion, and curiosity. Today, I sat down with Jason Hawes himself to get clarity on the controversy, the house's future, and what this really means for its preservation. This is a full, unedited conversation, so you can hear directly from him. Hey, Jason.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much, dude. Nothing much. There's actually, so I'm going to try really hard not to fanboy out because I've watched you since I was like a teenager.
And you'll realize really quick that I'm like the most down to earth person. I'm a plumber by trade. I mean, it's not.
You're just a dude.
That's it, man. I mean, if it was any different, I would, be doing other things. But it's just, I'm an average, normal, everyday guy. Father, 6. Oh
wow. Okay. Cool, man. So I don't know where all this came from. I've been kind of following this loosely from the start. There's a lot of confusion out there, apparently.
Yeah. I think some of it's been, and there needs to be concern anytime anybody, here's the thing, and let it be known. You haven't told me any questions you're going to ask me, or anything like that. You and I have never met until this point, except when I sent you a message just saying you could have reached out to me at any time.
Yeah.
So, I didn't expect to be at this point, where I had no idea that Andrew was going to do the video. And I mean, come on, if I had just ignored that video, I would have looked like I was like I didn't care. And also, I mean, it's her plea. And, so that's what got me to step into it. I didn't, I had walked away from this property numerous times in the past.
Yeah.
Do I have a weird circle around me from this light or something?
There's a little bit of a halo, but.
Well, I don't want that. So there we go.
Okay. That's honestly, that's a pretty honest thing to do.
And I've been straightforward about that since the get-go. So,
okay. So there's confusion about the GoFundMe. I thought you had dropped it to 600,000. I believe the article said 600,000, but some people think that you dropped it to 700,000.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that's just because I figured, and it's my own stupid math on it. But initially, I was trying to somebody, was going to assist, and they're going to assist. The numbers were screwed up. But I had told everybody that I was matching dollar for dollar up to that certain amount. So even when that person adds that amount, I'm still going to match it all. So, okay. But yeah, it's at 700,000. That's the number I ended up clicking down, man. I mean, there's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is, this is, I believe, one of the ones from the YouTube community post. It says, why is this anonymous person not putting 4 $100,000 amounts into the GoFundMe?
Well, I think there's multiple reasons. The minute they put it in there, like just talking with GoFundMe yesterday, they filled me in that they now have a system where they can put private pledges that doesn't have to be put into the actual GoFundMe. I'm on the road right now, so we haven't done that. But I mean, if the minute they donate the money if they give it to GoFundMe, it automatically loses like 3%, or 2.9 or whatever else. So why would they sit there and do that at an instant cost of 13 or whatever $1,000? If they could just make it a private pledge. And other people have said, well, because there's, they're not giving their name. They're doing this. They're going to have stakes. First off, they'll have no stake, no say in anything. This was a private pledge. And let's be honest. I mean, and you can see from just some of the posts I put out there, if somebody does that and they're public about it, people are going to come out of the woodwork. And be like, well, if you got $400,000 to donate to this, then how about giving me a loan? How about doing this? it happens, you know it. And just like the people who win the lottery and all stuff like that. So, and then they start getting called out. Well, you're giving this money to this, and you can see some of it in the post. It's like, well, you're raising money to try to preserve this house, but there's all these homeless individuals or this or that. The money could be used for other things. Of course, somebody's going to want to be anonymous when it comes down to that. It's,
Okay.
they don't want everybody and their brother coming out, either attacking them for what they're donating to, being upset that they have that much money. I mean, we live in a world these days that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I get that.
I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, and I wouldn't think you'd even argue that point. I think you know exactly what I'm saying on that. If somebody realized that somebody realized you had $100 million sitting in your bank, as well as I do that people are going to come out of the woodwork and ask. And there's a lot of people out there who ask because they truly need help. And there's a lot of people out there who ask because they feel like you should automatically spread that around or do what they, follow what they want.
Yeah, I'm not against them remaining anonymous, to be honest with you. I value privacy. So just the fact that they would like to remain private, it's completely okay with me. Another one is, what happens if the cost of repairs on the property exceeds the amount raised?
Well, I already expect it to exceed any money that's raised through the GoFundMe and so forth. So, I mean, those costs are coming directly out of me. That'll be on me to make sure that that's all covered. I didn't go in this thinking that I wasn't going to have to spend a lot of money. I went in this for the fact that it was like, all right, well, Andrea made a plea, and I had said I didn't want to be involved in this many times. If I was going to do it, let's see if we can do it as a community. Let's, bring everybody together with no promises of anything. Let's just try to do it. And if it didn't work, okay, well then no harm. Everybody gets refunds and everything else. So, but it was like to pull everybody together because, not just Andrea, Andrea made the plea, but after Andrea made the plea, you can imagine how many messages I was getting asking me to answer that plea. So, all right. And that's fine. I get it. I'll step up, I'll help out, but let's see if we can make this a community effort.
Okay. That's fair. Another one is, will financial records related to the GoFundMe and property costs be made public or verified by third party for transparency? I think this one kind of goes back into the privacy that we just talked about. If anything, all the records are going to be in your name, I think. So there's different ways. So even talking with my attorney, there's different ways of handling this, whether LLC or, different types of trust scenarios, which in a trust is always another positive idea because you got to remember it saves the property. Say if tomorrow I got sick or whatever, if this property was just in my name or say in 20 years from now, I ended up on state Medicare or whatever. A lot of times the government at that point will seize your assets to pay for your medical care. Yeah. So we dealt with that issue with my father when he had MS and cancer. So, next thing you know, they're trying to go after the house. They're going after this. They're going after that. And a lot of people out there understand this. I mean, you can research it. So the fact of the matter is, if you put it in a trust, that protects it and still keep it, it'll remain open for the public, for education use, for all those factors. So it could never be demolished. It can't be sold to private developers. So there's two different types of trusts. So, that way it at least keeps the property safe in the, chance that something happens to me or whatever, but it still keeps it stable. And I think that's the most important thing. And it also, an LLC can give you some protection, but a trust can give you more protection if it comes down to somebody getting hurt on the property and then trying to file suit, trying to sue you or whatever else. And again, I'm going to have to rely on the legal term, not the legal term, but legal representation to decide what's within the best interest of that property. That's what it comes down to. It's because this isn't a money-making endeavor for me. I mean, if anything, at this point in my life, it's a cost factor for me. But
if you're able to preserve the property is able to make enough to run itself, cover its costs, cover its upkeep, repairs. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. I
And
also,
you know what? If we can cut the price, and and it's crazy because I've seen a few people being like, you can't cut the prices down to make that property survive. Yeah, you can. It's not complicated. You can still do the tours as a major source of the revenue that come in to cover that property. You can still do, a couple overnight investigations at half or less of the cost that she used to charge. Yeah. So, I mean, you could get that down to 70, $50, $60, $70 a person to do overnights if done right. It would be different if I needed a paycheck out of this property. And I think that's what people aren't, those people aren't understanding. Will I want to make my money back? Well, yeah, but that's why I'm trying to keep my costs down so I don't have to try to make that much money back. And if I was looking at it differently, then I would say the hell with it. I'll just go in, I'll get a buddy, whatever. We'll go in, we'll get into the auction, we'll fix it up, charge whatever and move forward from there. But it's not about that. I mean, it's not about that for me. I mean, I used to own a hotel in restaurant bar in New Hampshire, and it would cost you $80, $100 to rent a room. And then if you want to go investigate it, go investigate it. You weren't being charged extra. You weren't being, there weren't all these. And don't get me wrong, I understand people's business plans, and I understand your cost has to be trickled down and so forth. But that's not where I am in my life right now.
Yeah, I think I kind of addressed that a little bit in the video, that you would have to make your money back on it. So it would be down to operating costs. Like, as long as the building could cover its own cost, I think is where you
operating cost. And then also remember, no matter what property, you always want that property to turn somewhat of a profit, because there's always going to be repairs that are going to come up. So, the roof was replaced in 2020 something, these other issues, for all the well could be shot at some point. I mean, there's endless factors that come up. So you always want the property to be able to turn a profit for itself. So it has money in the bank. So if something happens, an emergency, they're not coming to me being like, Jay, we need a check for 50 grand. No, the property has its account. It has so it has its, expenses and everything else going through there. And it makes enough to keep itself open, cover its expenses, but also puts a little in the bank every month or whatever, which will be a financial stability for that property. And that's any property that you run, even owning rental properties. I owned rental properties in the past, and your rent isn't just covering your mortgage. Your rent is covering your mortgage and a little, because you never know if you're going to have to replace your hot water tank. You never know if something's going to happen and you're going to have water damage or flood damage or need somebody out there to rerun pipes. You always have to have a profit to a certain point to cover all those expenses. So, but does your profit have to be 30 grand a week? No, absolutely not. I mean, that's where there's a fine line there between it making, a couple hundred or even $1,000 a week extra to put in its account to making, 20 grand, 30 grand a week.
That's right. Okay. So moving on, it says, can you clarify who currently holds the legal title of the Conjuring House? Like, who currently owns it?
Right now, the past owner, Jacqueline, she still owns it. Yeah. And that won't change hands until the new lender whoever purchased the note has to go through the foreclosure process again.
Okay. Did the new lender, did they purchase from the old bank? So, like, when they bought the debt, did they also buy the mortgage itself?
Well, the debt is that would be the mortgage. So yeah, and I mean, it's not uncommon practice. Now, do we know who it is yet? No, but it's not uncommon practice for one lender to purchase a block of notes from another lender, because you're purchasing that lender's debt. And, they do it for different purposes, whether they can tack on their extra fees, whether they can look at a property as, okay, well, when we finally foreclose on this and do this whole thing, we can add extra, we can sell it for a profit. I mean, there's endless reasons why lenders purchase other lenders, just like when it comes down to credit card companies.
Yep.
mean, you might get, you get these collection agencies who purchase those debts or whatever from those credit card companies.
Yep. Yeah, I completely get that.
And that's why I said, man, I'll answer whatever question, because I wanted full transparency. It's like, I think a lot of people don't understand those little things that end up going on, or how things actually work when it comes down to that stuff.
Yeah. So I know I had kind of reached out to you in the video to address whether or not your daughter was going to have any sort of ownership at all.
No shit. First off, let me just state right off, they have no ownership or stake in the property. Satori and they weren't even aware that I had agreed to try to help Andrea. Yeah. She was pretty surprised when I dropped that video.
Yeah. I was reading some of your comments while you were in the comment section putting that down. And like, I kind of thought that you had answered it, but some people still had questions about it.
Okay.
Now they're wondering if she will have some sort of management role.
Honestly, that hasn't even been discussed, because I've only, it's mainly been, Jen, Corey, Aaron, that I've discussed that with. And when it comes down to it, I have 6 kids. I mean, are people going, you're going to see my sons over there helping mow the lawns. You're going to, anything that's going to keep costs down to keep that property open. But I have not committed to anybody. And it's not just a me decision, because that's a decision that has to be decided between pretty much everybody who's assisting there. I'm going to be relying heavily on Jen and Corey and Aaron, because Corey and Jen own the property. Aaron ran the property, as well as other employees who've worked there as well as the neighbors, which I have a great relationship with, who are hoping that things go a certain way because their lives have been hell dealing with this stuff. So that's going to be I think that's going to be a group decision, and I have no preference one way or another, because you know what, that was never part of my decision making on this. Right. This was a quick, not even a quick, but all right, you know what, I'll try to see what we can do here on that, and if we can save this property, because let's be honest, I mean, who knows how long Andrea has left? Yeah, this could be the final thing she's asking for, and you know what? I would have hated myself if I just ignored it, right? Or I just didn't do something to try to help. Man, that's right. And I don't think we actually covered, your answer with your question about all the funds and if it's going to be transparent. I don't know if it is transparent. Whether it is or not. There's going to be other people who are helping with any of those GoFundMes. It's just like, am I going to be transparent to people on the 1.5 or 2.5 or 3 mil, whatever I put into the property? I mean, people are going to see what the property was purchased for, so they're going to know that. But but any money that comes in from the GoFundMe or anything is 100% going to that property. I mean, because when it comes down to it, it's just there's no money that is going directly to me. I mean, it's going into that property. I don't need the money in the first place. The only reason we're doing this is in hopes of trying to keep the cost down for everybody. It was a beneficial thing. It's a win-win for everyone. And, so it opens up those doors, and it's not like this property is going to be purchased and then sold 5 years down the line. I mean, especially if it's put into a trust or whatever, because then it's locked in and it's protected. And that was another concern of mine. Nothing personal, but I wouldn't want to have something happen to me and then people are like, okay, we can sell that property. And no, I don't want that. I want the property protected where, it's and it's always there. Right.
GoFundMe. If people are anonymous on GoFundMe, there's, no reason to try and look them up. Is my thing on it. And
I'm not sure if they can or whatever. My only concern about the anonymous part was those who donated money anonymous. but I guess GoFundMe still has their contact information. So that was that was a concern for me, because I was like, well, what about the ones who've been donating, and staying anonymous? Are we going to be able to, if this doesn't work? And GoFundMe told me that they are able to make sure those people get all their money back as well. And another thing I've seen, let's just answer it, is some people have said, well, if this doesn't happen, can my, can what I donated go to something else? No, it can't, because the one thing I promised from day one was this was for the Conjuring House. So I can never make that decision to say, well, it didn't work there, I'm going to put your money in. No, that's not up to me. Everybody gets their money back. And if they want to donate to something else, fine. But this is for the Conjuring House, and that was it. So if it doesn't happen, then you get the money back. And if you want to donate that somewhere else, then that's up to you.
Right. No, that's completely fair. Yeah, I'm all for people wanted to be anonymous, or your $400,000 pledge. That's anonymous. I'm all for that staying anonymous.
And that person's not in the paranormal community. Just let me say that.
Yeah,
that person's not a paranormal individual, and it's a total different industry.
I've seen speculation from people on like who they think it is. Like they're throwing out Josh Gates, and
I mean, Josh would be considered in the paranormal community. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like I'm a huge fan of Josh Gates. I talk about him a lot. Like on the channel, I talk about cryptids mostly. So Josh Gates comes up a lot in my script writing. Mm-hmm. So like I'm a huge fan of him. I'm like, if he was involved in this, his name would probably be on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Josh is a good friend. But no, this has nothing to do with anybody who's involved in the paranormal industry. I wish I could say.
They want to remain anonymous. We can remain anonymous.
Exactly. But I can say 100% they're not involved in the paranormal, or the paranormal TV or paranormal online community stuff. So
yeah, I think that the transparency question was for them, so people could go back later and look it up. I think is what that.
But I don't think they want people to be able to look them up. And just like you see all these people who, I mean, like I donate money every year to things. It's not like I do it and make sure my name sticks out to it. And people do this all the time. I mean, they donate large sums of money to other things just to, keep them open, and they don't take a stake in it. It's something that they feel good about doing. And, I mean, it's, I've been in the industry for 25 years. I've, hung out with everybody from owners of production companies to musicians and so forth. So there's a lot of people who've done very well for themselves.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it says, actually, you've already answered all of those. So I guess the last one would be, how do you address the community concerns that the house's historical value could be overshadowed by ghost hunting and personal projects? Would you consider a plan focused purely on preservation?
Okay. Just so you know, your audio keeps going in and out, but I heard you. Okay. I just want people to hear what you're asking me. So if you want to just say it again.
Okay. How do you address community concerns that the house's historical value could be overshadowed by ghost hunting or personal projects? What would you consider a plan focused purely on preservation?
Okay. Would I consider a plan focused solely on preservation? No, because the property wouldn't be able to maintain itself if it was just that. So there would just be no way for that property to survive. Now, do I want the paranormal to overshadow the historical aspects? No, but I want them to fuel each other. No matter what, we need to accept that property is always going to have ties to the paranormal enthusiasts. Whether people believe it or not, whether they like it or not, it's always going to have those ties. So we need to accept that. Everybody needs to accept that and embrace that, but embrace that in a way that it's not comical. It's not over the top. It's not, oh my God, there's a demon in the basement.
Yeah.
Have it in a respectful way. And to be honest, this property notoriously has pulled believers, non-believers, skeptics, debunkers, historians to it. So utilize that for this property, for the sake of the property, because all of them coming together will be beneficial to this property, and it'll allow it to thrive and survive. And I think that's most important. And, when it comes to, there's so many opportunities that can be done with that property. The barn, there's claims that the barn is one of the oldest in the town. Now, I believe that's accurate, but I could be wrong in that. But the barn had a fire happen, and it's kind of been left. But that barn can be fixed up. It can be utilized for other things. It can be utilized for, I was talking to people like Kenny Biddle about this, who's a good friend of mine. It can be used for a place to show, scientific research and paranormal research and where they've crossed paths and where we are in this field and how you can do the next steps, which I think is a great thing, because that could be, I think, like, I don't know the exact, but I think she used to charge $40 or whatever for a tour, and it was a tour of the house. Now I could be wrong on those numbers, but I mean, people can go for tours and they could go see this as well, which is just an not even an add-on for extra expense, but just an added part of that tour, which gives them more to work with. It's great seeing the property and seeing the history and seeing that stuff, but if you're there for the paranormal, it would be nice to also be able to do the same and have something more that shows you how, or at least helps guide you in how we can advance the field. With the barn also, you could have everything right down to a historical aspect of it. You can have the tools of those days, things like that really connect people, not just to the paranormal aspects, but the historical aspect of that property.
Yeah.
I mean, the possibilities are endless. You've got all that land out there, which is most of it's not cleared, and I wouldn't want to clear it. Let's just be clear there. So I wouldn't want to go tearing anything down or whatever. But there's fields. I mean, those fields can be used for community things, where you can have community style little fairs or whatever that can showcase, like I had said in one of the posts, it can showcase local artists or other artists. It can be used. There's just endless possibilities that will help generate revenue that can protect that property for periods of time. Because when you come to the winter months, I mean, you're going to slow down. Yeah. So it's like you have those months throughout the spring, summer, fall to generate that income to cover the expenses throughout the winter as well. So,
right. Okay, cool. I think that was it for the questions. Most of them, at least. A lot of the questions that I got were kind of repeated. Just people curious.
Well, and I have, like I said, do you have any specific questions or concerns that you want to address? I mean,
no, I think you answered them. You answered everything that I had.
Well, bottom line, man, is, and we don't know each other. Our paths crossed because you did a post and I responded, and I'm happy they crossed. But it's always, since day one, and some people have made some statements which are incorrect. Since day one, I've tried to be 100% transparent with everything. Even in my first post, where somebody in your post had said, well, he only threw in that he was going to throw in money. No, I pretty much said from the get-go that I was going to invest. I just never said the amounts. Again, this is something that I could do on my own, but then it would be this business venture that I'd have to start looking at the same business plan that she had in the past. And it just wasn't about that for me. I don't know. I don't want to see a mom and pa investigator head to a property and have to pay $1,600, $2,000. That's just not the business plan I want to be in. I want to see people be able to go there and enjoy it for a reasonable amount and, not feel like I hit them,
Right. I get that 100%. I'm kind of with you on that. That's kind of how I figured the thing was going to go down anyways.
Yeah. And, and there's a lot of properties out there. and I'll never question. I'm not questioning anybody's business plan. Just understand that. But there's a lot of properties out there that are larger properties, so I can understand that they're trying to pay for electricity, they're trying to pay for heat, they're paying for their insurance. There are all these other factors that come into play. But this isn't a big property like that. I mean, it's a small house. It's got the barn. It's maybe a big part of land, but I couldn't morally justify doing that just where I am. So
right. No, I get it completely, 100%. I don't. There's no other questions. I think we covered them all.
Well, and what's your concerns? Your own honest concerns about it?
Well, my concern mostly is that you kind of answered that as well, is that I just don't want it to fall into the hands of like developers and stuff like that.
Yep.
But just because solely just the history of the property being around since the mid 1700s.
Yeah, I mean, one person that reached out to me was an individual out of New York City, and I guess their plan was to come bid on the property, but this individual is part of another company, so I guess you can refer to it as like a hedge fund type company. But and their whole idea was that they wanted to get sprinklers in there, do this, do that, and get it all up to code, and then start charging $600, $700 a night per person to sleep there as a bed and breakfast. Because they're like, well, if you can fit like 6 people in there, then so you're making almost $5,000 a night. That shit scares the hell out of me. But the nice thing was they reached out to me and talked a few times back and forth, and they said, you know what, all right, we're not gonna be there. And this was before the auction. They're like, we're gonna stand clear of it. And I like that idea, because there's no way none of us would stand a chance going up against somebody who's involved in a hedge fund company out in New York. I mean, we'd all be dead. So it's like they're going to bury us. So but then again, we also have the whole unknown. You never know who's keeping quiet, who might be stepping in, and but the fact of the matter is, it's just all we can do as a community is try and see where we end up. To see the community come together like this, I think has been phenomenal. It's great to see. And you know what? Again, in the end, no matter what, if we win, we win. Great, everybody wins. But if not, we tried, and the community came together and really made a stand.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good thing what everybody's doing, like especially just behind the GoFundMe and all that. One last thing. I've seen some comments where people kind of think that if they donate to the GoFundMe that they partially own.
Yeah, I've seen that. And a big thing with GoFundMe is that you're donating with no expectation of reward or anything like that, because that's 100% against their policy. And doing that, I mean, if there was a reward, it also opens you up to different tax issues that you need to be concerned about. So this is just a bunch of people coming together, throwing in whatever they can to try to save a property, to try to help save a property. And I've also seen people say, well, it just means he's going to own another house. I get that, and I get that concern. I mean, that's why I would love to just get this over to a trust or whatever. But I already own homes, and the homes I have are nice homes or modern homes and stuff like that. It's not about like, I don't want to just own the Conjuring House. I own the other homes. We're trying to do this as a community. This is nothing to do with me looking to own a home or try to, hold on to it as an asset and sell it in the future. If it was, I wouldn't be talking about trying to put together a trust. This is about preserving this for generations to come. You know what? I've done a lot within the paranormal field. I've been involved in it for over 35 years of my life. If I was gone tomorrow, I've left somewhat of a legacy. Mm-hmm. If we're able to save this property as a community, and that's part of my legacy, that we did this for generations to come, And that right there, that means everything to me. To add that, he stepped up and everybody stepped up behind him, and they created a movement that came together and preserved this property,
Right.
whether it's the paranormal aspect or the historical aspect. Right there, I think that means everything to me, and that would be a legacy I would be proud of.
Right. I get that 100%, man. 100%. So I know you're short on time. I know you're out filming right now.
Got to get to an investigation, but
yep.
having fun with these YouTube stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Is there anything that you wanna wrap up with?
No, man. I just, you know what, it means everything to me as somebody who has never put together a GoFundMe in my life. It scared the hell out of me, Andrew. I'll be honest. I was like, I've never asked people for money. I've never done anything like this. And when I first put it up, to see how quickly people were there to support it. I think within like the first 24 hours, it was over $30,000 raised. And then it got locked up, and there a reason behind that. I guess there were some weird claims that they wanted to look at, which is fine. And after that, it was back open. And then when I heard that the house was sold, I instantly went and paused it. Instantly, because I didn't want to accept one penny for donations or anything if it wasn't going to go to what I had said. And then when I found out it wasn't the house that was sold, I opened it up and I made sure I did a video and let everybody know why. So it's the whole thing is just, I've tried to make sure that everybody knew every single spot or every single thing that was going on at any moment. It's just been about being honest with everybody, keeping it real. But it's been an amazing emotional roller coaster, again, because it's something I've never done before. But to see how it's come together, I owe it to everybody. I mean, they're all the ones who made it possible. I was just a voice, and they're the ones who made it possible.
Right. Okay. Well, Jason, thank you for talking to me. Thank you for hanging out for like a half hour, 45 minutes.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem. And if you have any other questions that come, you know how to get in touch with me. It's I have no problem answering whatever. So it's all about transparency and letting everybody know what's really happening.
All right, brother. Well, have fun at the investigation.
Thanks, man. You stay safe, and see you around.
See you, bud.